Ever wonder how your birthday, like, actually connects to your personality?
Interesting.
We're diving into Adam's birthday book today,
Okay.
to unpack its take on January 1st.
Oh, cool.
The so-called Day of the Emotional Organizer. Day of the Emotional Organizer? Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't that sound kind of like a fascinating contradiction?
It does. Yeah.
Let's break it down.
Let's do it.
Okay, so it describes people born on January 1st as, like, loving organization
Right.
and structure.
Uh-huh.
It even uses the word, get this, authoritarian
Wow.
to really, like, drive home that point,
Yeah.
But then it throws us a curveball.
Okay.
It says, these folks are also super emotional,
Real.
even if they don't always show it. What do you make of that?
Well, it definitely suggests a complex personality right from the start.
Yeah.
This book seems to be hinting at a push and pull between, a need for control
Okay.
and deep emotional sensitivity in those born on January 1st.
Interesting. So it's like they're walking a tightrope
Yes.
between wanting to keep things orderly
Right.
and navigating a rich inner world of feelings.
Exactly.
Got it.
And this internal struggle, according to the book, might actually be their secret sauce for success.
Oh, wow.
If they can learn to harness it, of course.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to see why self-awareness seems to be like a big theme here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the book also says that you, January 1st folks, are known for your honesty
Right.
and a strong sense of loyalty.
Right.
Awesome qualities. But it also suggests that these same strengths might make, typical career paths.
Yeah.
Especially like the cutthroat corporate kind. A bit tricky to navigate. What do you think?
It's an intriguing thought.
Yeah.
I think what the book is getting at is that a strong moral compass, while admirable, can be a stumbling block
Oh, interesting.
if it's not aligned with your environment.
I see.
This isn't to say January 1st folks aren't ambitious.
Right. The book actually says they're very much driven to succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's more about recognizing what path to success might feel most fulfilling and authentic for them, given their inherent values.
Okay.
If you're constantly battling your own sense of ethics to get ahead, it's probably not a recipe for long-term happiness, no matter how big your paycheck gets.
Almost like trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
That's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
This internal struggle between ambition and integrity seems to be a defining factor for those born on January 1st. Finding a career path that complements their natural strengths and their strong sense of right and wrong might be the key to unlocking their full potential. This doesn't have to be self-sabotage,
Right.
but maybe a more nuanced form of self-awareness.
That makes sense. And get this, the book also claims these folks can be quite liberal in their personal views, but still come across as traditional. It's another one of those January 1st paradoxes, right?
Absolutely, and I think it speaks to that inner complexity we're uncovering. Perhaps they're naturally drawn to exploring new ideas and perspectives, but their innate desire for structure and order might make them hesitant to, rock the boat too much externally.
It's like they've got this whole other world going on in their heads. Yeah.
But only those closest to them get to see that side.
That's a fascinating observation, and it underscores the importance of open communication for January 1st individuals, especially in close relationships. They might need to make a conscious effort to let people into that inner world, to bridge the gap between how they appear and how they truly feel.
So we've talked about how these internal contradictions might play out in their careers and relationships, but what about this whole idea of finding inner harmony? It seems like a recurring theme in this book.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how the book connects it to the tarot. Apparently the card for January 1st is, the Magician.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But why the Magician?
Right.
What makes that card such a good metaphor for this birthday?
Yeah.
Well, the Magician in tarot is all about potential and manifestation. They have all these tools and skills at their disposal, but it's up to them to choose how they're going to use them. Does that sound familiar?
Totally. It's like that whole great power, great responsibility thing.
Exactly. And just like January 1st individuals, the magician has to find that balance between their inner and outer worlds, between their ambition and their integrity.
Right.
If they can do that, their potential is limitless. But if they get too caught up in their own, cleverness, they might end up using their skills for the wrong reasons.
It's almost like a cautionary tale, right? Like,
Right.
hey, January 1st, folks, you've got all these amazing qualities, but don't let them go to your head.
Precisely. And I think that's where self-awareness becomes Absolutely crucial. It allows those born on January 1st to recognize their own potential, uh, shadow side, so to speak,
Yeah.
and make conscious choices that align with their values.
It's like having a cheat sheet to navigate your own strengths and weaknesses.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
The more you understand your own patterns and tendencies, the better equipped you are to handle those tricky situations where your ambition might be at odds with your moral compass. And that brings us to another fascinating point. The book's take on physical health for January 1st individuals.
Okay, let's dive into that. I was super curious about this part because it felt so specific. Like, did
Yeah.
you know it says people born on this day might be especially prone to stress-related issues?
Oh, wow.
Not entirely surprising considering everything we've just discussed.
Right. It's almost like all that internal processing, that constant balancing act between different aspects of themselves can take a toll if they're not careful.
Yeah.
Which is probably why the book emphasizes the importance of stress-reducing activities for those born on January 1st.
And it's not just general advice like, get more sleep, although that's always good advice, right?
Right.
It gets really specific, recommending things like walking, swimming. It even talks about how important a healthy diet is for these folks, specifically reducing sugar and processed foods.
What I find fascinating is how this advice ties back into the theme of balance.
Okay.
These recommendations aren't just about physical health, they're about finding ways to create a sense of inner peace and equilibrium, which is something January 1st individuals might crave without even realizing it.
It's like the book is saying, like, hey, if you want to conquer the world, you got to fuel your body and mind in a way that supports that.
Yeah.
And speaking of supporting yourself, there's one more piece of advice I wanted to touch on. The book's take on communication and relationships for January 1st babies.
Hmm.
Remember that whole no mixed signals thing?
Oh, absolutely. That one definitely stood out. What did you make of it?
Well, it's like they're being told to be, upfront about their needs and feelings.
Yeah.
Instead of like expecting their partner to
Right.
read between the lines.
It's all about clear and direct communication.
Which, let's be honest, is good advice for anyone.
Right.
I know I've definitely been guilty of sending mixed signals in the past.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But for someone born on January 1st with their inherent need for structure and clarity, mastering this kind of communication can make a huge difference in their relationships.
Absolutely.
It's about creating that sense of harmony, not just, within themselves,
Right.
but also with their partners.
Exactly.
So to wrap things up, it seems like the overarching message for those born on January 1st is to really lean into self-awareness as a superpower.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This book emphasizes that understanding their unique blend of strengths and challenges is key to unlocking their full potential.
Right.
It's about recognizing that those very qualities that might make them feel like an outsider in a world that often rewards conformity are actually the keys to their success,
Interesting.
if they can learn to harness them effectively.
It's like they've got this amazing internal compass,
Yeah.
but they need to learn how to read it and trust its guidance.
Exactly.
Right.
It's about embracing those contradictions,
Yeah.
those seemingly opposite forces within themselves,
Okay.
and finding a way to make them work together instead of against each other.
To become the ultimate emotional organizer.
There you go.
Well, this has been such an enlightening deep dive.
It has been fun.
But remember, this is just one interpretation of what it means to be born on January 1st.
Right.
The real magic happens when you take these insights and see how they resonate with your own experiences.
Absolutely.
Use this information as a springboard for self-discovery,
Yeah.
not a definitive guidebook.
I love that.
You heard it here, folks. Embrace your inner complexity, January 1st babies. And if you're not a January 1st baby yourself, maybe this deep dive will give you a fresh perspective on the amazing people in your life who are...
I also
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, happy exploring.